So good afternoon. I will speak in English, I'm going to speak about a project that has just started. It is an ANR project that we had in 2021, and it started in April 2022. So the title of the project is Digitizing Armenian Linguistic Heritage, Armenian Multivariational Corpus and Data Processing. So my presentation will be quite general because the project has just started. So I will just speak about rather the objectives that we would like to have to get, and also about the problems and target issues that we would like to explore in the research perspective. The main objectives would be to have an open access and open source unified digital linguistic platform for the Armenian language variation. And just in a second, I will show you what are the Armenian varieties that we will process and tackle in the project. One of the main objectives would be to have a comprehensive corpus with full morphological annotation for each language variety. And more particularly, we will have classical Armenian, modern Western Armenian, a pilot corpus of Middle Armenian, 3 pilot corpora of dialects, and an updated modern Eastern Armenian corpus. And again, I will just get back to each variety and each corpus in a second to give more details. The project team is composed of INALCO CEDIL linguists, of LIPEN, that's why I think that it's AX5, right? Yeah, okay, yes. And also ERTIM, an NLP research center at INALCO. So this is the French research ecosystem. And besides that, we have also some international partners in Armenia and in Russia, because, again, I will tell you just in a second, one of the projects connected with Armenian corpus linguistics was already realized in Russia in collaboration with Russian linguists. So just some preliminaries, but I think that you all know already all this information. For the Armenian varieties, so we should tackle the alphabet. We have significant variation. So classical Armenian englobes the variety starting from the 5th century, so with the creation of the alphabet that took place at the beginning of the 5th century. Then we have Middle Armenian, which englobes the variety between 11th and 17th century. And this period exactly includes lots of variation because classical Armenian still continues existing, and it is used as the standard and academic variety, a bit like Latin, for example. So for Middle Armenian, the variation would be really a significant challenge to process. And that's why somehow we have it as a pilot project also, for which we will try to reuse the existing resources and tools that we're going to design for classical Armenian, for modern 2 standards, and also for some dialects. So modern Armenian, normally, traditionally, it starts from the 17th century, but it was rather standardized in the 19th and at the beginning of 20th century, includes 2 main varieties, so Eastern Armenian and Western Armenian. Eastern Armenian is the variety that is spoken in today's Republic of Armenia. So Eastern Armenian is rather influenced by Russian, but before that by Persian. whereas Western Armenian is the language spoken by the traditional Armenian diaspora, so coming from the Ottoman Empire. And Western Armenian has rather Turkish contact effects, and so they are things that we find differently, and also in morphological formalization can be treated and processed differently. And finally, there are a bunch of dialects, and the mutual intelligibility can be from complete to almost out of intelligibility. So the dialects also will be processed only as pilot projects. When I say pilot, it means that we want process and prepare target resources and tools or models for them, but the main resources and set of tools will be reused to estimate exactly to what extent the resources existing for one variation could be reused for another one, both in the linguistic and in NLP perspectives. The existing resources are quite heterogeneous. In general, Armenian is considered to be under-resourced language, but I think that there are quite many problems about this term. So I think that one should define better what is an under-resourced language, and also, for example, as I showed you, depending on what variety we speak about, the resourcedness of a variety would be quite different. So very often we say that a language is under-resourced or not, but I think that if we get into details, the problem can be quite more complicated and different. The answer could be different also. So for our project, the first issue would be to have data and homogeneous data. But besides compiling the data for all these varieties, the objectives of the projects are multiple. So we should have the annotation models for all these varieties. We should also try to have a representative and quite exhaustive corpora for the varieties included in the project, because very often the existing resources are either specialized in one type of variety or just concerning the NLP tools. Very often they do not cover the whole NLP basic resources, but just one target one, something like, for example, dictionaries or just annotation, etc. And as for the coverage of a variety, here we also have some problems, because very often only some part of a variety is processed. The only exception is Eastern Armenian, for which, as I said, we have Eastern Armenian National Corpus, which was which was processed in between 2006 and 2009 in Moscow, and it includes 110 million tokens with written and oral discourse. The oral part is about 3.5 million tokens, which makes about 300 hours, which is quite huge for oral corpus. So here you have just an overview of the existing resources. I won't get into details of all these, but you would see that they are distributed quite unevenly between the varieties. And as for the annotation tools, they are quite scarce also. So concerning the annotation tools, the objective would be to have 3 types of approaches: rule-based, deep learning-based approach based on the neural network language models, and a hybrid one where we could try to see whether a language model could be really more operational and more productive if this rule-based and deep learning-based approaches are combined. Sorry, just another part of the project is also the designing of automatic speech recognition model mainly for the two standards, so Eastern and Western Armenian. And as for the linguistic research, we'll try to have NLP-based linguistic research for language identification and language variety measuring. These are the results that we expect to have, but again, I think that I will skip all this, and maybe I will get back to you in some 3 or 4 years to speak exactly what we managed to have. And just one short speech about a small project that we had also within the framework of Action Défis Sociétaux in 2021, which would come to back the project of this big project, and it will be about creating a Western Armenian aligned oral corpus with about 40 hours of video recordings. And I think that I will stop there. Thank you.